Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Peter Furschlogner's Douchey Internet Reviews for douches who love Sonic the f***ing Hedgehog. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be reviewing a brand new old school Sonic game, but today is that day. But I'm not just going to be reviewing Sonic Mania, I'm also going to be unboxing the Collector's Edition thanks to a very special patron of mine named Anton Jensby, who made a $200 donation last month. Anton made this donation without expecting anything in return, so I'd like to dedicate this entire episode to Anton Jensby. Anton, this dog's for you.
Wow, 10 out of 10. Truly a great collection. I cannot believe.
Well, that was a pretty cool little package, guys, but now it's time to get down to business. So without further ado, it's time to review Sonic Mania. What the f is going on? Instructions for use. Point base away from face. It doesn't fit. That's what she said. But wait. So Sonic Mania picks up right where Sonic and Knuckles left off. I guess that means we can finally throw all of these away. Alright, this is it, guys. Just look at that schnozola schmear. Sonic is back, baby. Now, just like Sonic CD, Sonic Mania has an animated intro and is f***ing great. When I saw this before release, the hype was unreal. It's just so bouncy and fun. Also, if you let the intro play twice, the second time it plays to a different song. Both songs go great with the animation, but I prefer the one by Hyper Potions. Alright, who do we play as? Let's just go with the classic Sonic and Tails combo. So after detecting a powerful energy reading, Sonic and Tails hop in their plane and head over to Angel Island to investigate, but Dr. Borotnik is one step ahead of them and has sent a crew of baddies to retrieve what turns out to be a powerful gem called the Phantom Ruby. Upon its excavation, Sonic and Tails are presumably sent back in time and the baddies are upgraded to badasses. Now it's up to Sonic, Tails, and Fisty to defeat Eggman's hard-boiled heavies and save the world, yet again, from an army of tiny animals trapped in robots. This army includes a few new enemies like dive birds, fart snails, bomb beaks, and crabs that play catch with saw blades. Hey boys, careful with that saw blade, you're gonna put somebody's eye out with that thing. And how about this little fella with the rave lights? If you knock all of his lights off, he becomes incredibly depressed. Man, he looks so sad. Honestly, I don't even want to kill this guy. I'll just leave him here and hope he gets the help he needs. They've also got all the classic enemies, like, for example, everybody's favorite flagrant ass lobster, the Turbo Spiker. This little wagon has been shooting hedgehogs out of the air since 1994. He's probably the most hated enemy in Sonic games, and for good reason. You see, not only does this shit splinter shoot a giant spike at an angle through the air, but he then proceeds to run away like a little robot bitch. The second that drill bit leaves his little robot ass, he's gone with the wind. Shoot a spike at me, will you?
No, please.
Come here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come here, you little shit. Now let's talk about the characters. Each character is special in their own way. Sonic's new drop dash ability really stands out. I didn't think I'd be using it as much as I did, but it's very effective for keeping momentum. He's He's also the only character that can take full advantage of power-ups. Tails can fly, which makes avoiding obstacles and collecting the Chaos Emeralds much easier, and then there's Knuckles. Knuckles can glide and climb, but has a much shorter jump than Sonic and Tails. Each character can become super after collecting the emeralds. When you become the super version of a character, their speed is greatly increased, and they become impervious to almost every form of damage with the exception of being squished or falling to their deaths. This means that even when you're Super Knuckles, you still have a short jump, and that can lead to some squishy situations. You also have to watch your ring count. Becoming Super also drains your rings, and the last thing you want is to run out of rings during a boss fight or a difficult part of the stage. Other than that, becoming Super basically allows you to tear through a stage like an absolute badass. You are so powerful as Super Sonic that you don't even have to fight some of these bosses. You can just stand there and let them suicidally slam into you to no avail. Tails doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a Sonic is also the only character that goes full Saiyan when he transforms. He glows yellow, his spikes stand up, his idle and running animations change, and although Tails and Knuckles don't have a sprite change when they transform, they both still have an animated transformation, and it's really cool. In fact, all of the animations and expressions on these characters are very well done. The cutscenes are all done with the sprites from the game, and they look great. I really like the cutscene where Robotnik does a dramatic reveal with the Phantom Ruby and Tails just freaks the fuck out. I just love the attention to detail. It really gives these little fellas personalities, especially the ice sprites. Just look at the horrified look on Sonic's face when he gets frozen. You can clearly see the fear and uncertainty Sonic is feeling as he's launched through the stage with virtually no control over the events unfolding around him. Stuck, helpless and alone, following the path of least resistance. He would scream if he could, but he can't. For in ice, no one can hear you scream. No one. Such a silly sprite. The game also has all the classic power-ups. Each power-up has a unique effect on your character. The Fire Shield allows you to walk through lava and melt blocks of ice, as well as protects you from being frozen. The Electric Shield has magnetic properties and causes rings to magnetize and follow you when you're within a certain distance of them. It also allows you to walk on the magnetized areas of the Flying Battery Zone and protects you against electric shocks. The Water Shield allows you to breathe underwater, and that's kind of it. If you're playing as Sonic, you also get a special move for each power-up. You can bounce around with the bubble, shoot through the air with the Fire Shield, and you get a double jump with the Electric Shield. These moves and passive effects can be extremely useful depending on the stage you're in or the enemies you're fighting. Also, all of the shields will protect you from energy-based projectiles. You can still lose your shield by running into a solid object like the body of an enemy or spikes, but having a shield usually means not having to worry about projectiles during a stage. However, if you fall into the water with the Fire or Electric Shield, you lose the power-up. You can also set the oil on fire in the Oil Ocean Zone if you're equipped with the Fire Shield. Man, I can't tell you how good it feels to blast through these revamped stages. The watery caverns and towering totem poles of the Green Hill Zone, the bouncy jelly jumps in the Chemical Plant Zone, the wind and rain of the Flying Battery Zone, Stardust Speedways, Fireflies, and Starry Skies, and not to mention the nods to Sonic CD throughout the stage, including the Robot Generator, Time Travel, and of course the sadistic metal Sonic hologram stepping on a rabbit. Animal cruelty is not cool, guys, but this is a Sonic game, so I think it's safe to say that someone, somewhere, jerked off to this. And then there's the purple ruins and panic attacks of the Aquatic Zone. Just give me the fucking air! And who could forget the dangerously polluted Oil Ocean Zone where you need to clear the air every now and again in order to avoid inhaling toxic fumes. There's also the glowing crystals and lakes of lava in the Lava Reef Zone, and the very mechanical Metallic Madness Zone where you can be tiny and cute. You can also launch yourself into the background of the stage. Not to mention, the new stages were an absolute joy to play through. You've got the Press Garden Zone, which seems to be some kind of printing factory based on the papers in the background, and the letter blocks, which are more than likely a reference to the letter blocks used in a printing press. You gotta keep an eye on those T blocks too, because they only stick around for so long. I like to think the T stands for temporary. It's a good way to remind yourself not to stand on one for too long. Oh wait, the O blocks retract too? The O stands for oh shit. During the second act, you find yourself in what seems to be some kind of snowy forest area where trees are being cut down, possibly to create paper for the printing press. The major theme here seems to be ice. You've got ice blocks, creatures that drop ice bombs, and machines that can freeze you. And how about the lights, camera, and action of the Studiopolis Zone? Everything about this stage is an ode to video production. From rolling on a film reel to bouncing from a clapperboard, this stage is full of popcorn, applause cues, giant television screens and cameras, paparazzi beetles, and even the beginning of the stage theme sounds like a news jingle. This stage also has references to Sega classics as well as Easter eggs in the form of quotes, like, for example, Genesis does. What Nintendo don't. Lock On, in reference to the lock-on technology of Sonic and Knuckles. Cool. And of course, no Sonic game is complete without the element of gambling. Gotta teach them while they're young, you feel me? You know, it has always shocked me that they have gambling in a Sonic game. What are they trying to teach these kids? Sorry, gambling stresses me out. 16? Come on, what is that bullshit? Come on, baby, come on! Well, guys, looks like it's ramen again tonight. You see, kids, smoking and drinking and gambling are all very, very, very bad for you unless you're winning. And then it's fucking awesome because you can buy a new car and you can afford to treat the many illnesses associated with substance abuse. Well, we certainly aren't in Kansas anymore. In fact, judging by the distinct rock formations, I'm pretty sure this is Arizona. This is most definitely a Western-themed stage. You find yourself soaring over the barren desert landscape in a biplane, spinning on bar stools, bouncing between piano keys, riding the seltzer wave, and of course, great big guns. God bless the West. There's nothing more American than being fired out of a giant gun. Well, except for deviancy.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't be judged for whacking off to my diaper for Sonic OC. And I proudly stand up next to you and inflate her still today. Cause you'll find me here on DeviantArt.
God bless America!
Bless the USA.
Anyways, there's also the final stage, but we'll talk about that one later. And look, I get it, there's only 4 completely new stages, but that's still a third of the stages in the game. And they added so much fresh content into the game that it never feels gimmicky. I mean, I've beaten this game 5 or 6 times now, and it's never felt boring or repetitive. And each time I play through the game, I discover new areas and paths to take to reach the goals. The elements that are modeled after previous Sonic games are done so in a way that improves on them, sometimes vastly. Like, for example, the tracks you run in the Emerald stages are smooth and buttery like the ass of a steamed lobster, unlike the unforgivably difficult and jittery version in Sonic PC, which gives me hives. I hated these stages so much. I hated them more than my middle school math teacher, Mrs. Kremblesnoot, and she was a cunt. But I digress. The point is that they didn't just take the old version and spice it up, they completely remade it. There is not a single boss fight in this game that felt like they just picked it out of an old school Sonic game and threw it in lazily, as easy as that would have been. Instead, they treated each boss fight with the respect and dignity it deserves. Some of my favorite boss fights include the Spider Mobile boss fight, in which Eggman hangs above you in a gigantic robot spider and you have to knock him into spikes. I also really enjoyed the Metal Sonic boss fight, especially the part with the Silver Sonics. These tiny little silver hedgehogs are so damn cute that I almost feel bad launching their dense little bodies into Metal Sonic's face like living cannonballs. I also really love the redesign of Oil Ocean's boss. It's a giant octopus, dude. Would you look? It's just fucking cool, okay? The Heavy Shinobi boss fight was also really fun. I mean, hell, all the boss fights in this game were fun. But I did find it a little strange that Borotnik decided to build a robot with saw blades made of ice. Blades so weak that they can't even cut through wood. I mean, seriously, dude, all that IQ and that's the best you could come up with? At least the boss has an epic defeat. I mean, it explodes so hard it sends the stage into nuclear winter. Man, I can't get over how charming this game is. I haven't enjoyed a Sonic game this much since Sonic and Knuckles. Probably because somewhere along the line, it felt to me like Sonic went from cool to edgy. You see, kids, cool Sonic is the cute, bouncy, curious little hedgehog who went on a momentum-driven, physics-based adventure to save the world and a whole bunch of tiny animals from an egg-obsessed, emerald-stealing evil scientist with a knack for robotics and a really big mustache. Edgy Sonic, however, is the green-eyed, rat-voiced teenage queef biscuit who has no regard for people's personal property and can't talk without having a fucking facial seizure. Honestly though, I've never really been into any of the 3D Sonic games. They just never felt like Sonic games to me. Which brings me to my next point. Sonic Forces looks stupid. For all the flashy action, well-made cutscenes, slew of classic characters, and of course the one edgelord to rule them all, it looks like during the actual gameplay, the enemies just stand around like cardboard cutouts. And before you all shit your collective diaper, I don't care if you're a fan of Forces. If you want to play it, fucking play it. You can have it. Fucking blend a coffee up and drink it like a milkshake. I don't care. People will enjoy what they enjoy. I'm just farting out a shitty opinion on the internet, and that opinion is that Sonic Forces looks like a fucking phone app game. I'm not interested in running these courses. I'm not interested in creating a Sonic OC. I don't want to be Binky the Foxchog. I just want to bounce around like a coked up pinball. Anyways, let's get back to Sonic Mania. Let's talk about the save system in Sonic Mania. See, the save system is basically the same as it is in Sonic 3. The game saves at the beginning of every zone, and if you quit out, you can come back and continue where you left off. You'll have the same lives and continues, you just start at the beginning of Act 1. If you get a game over and have no continues, the game saves your progress and starts you back at the first act of whatever zone you died in with 3 lives. Simple and easy. Or is it? Because apparently, Sonic Mania's save system sucks.
Okay.
Look, I want to make it very clear to all of you that I don't want you going over this article and spamming hate or targeting this gentleman for having a different opinion, okay? That is not the answer to this shit. It is childish and unproductive. The best thing you can do in a situation like this is express your disagreements in a calm and coherent manner. What are you, some kind of fucking plebeian? Are you seriously complaining that the game doesn't save after every checkpoint? What kind of limp-wristed, noodle-dick, pussy-waffled shit is this? If the game saved after every checkpoint, there wouldn't even be a point in having a game over, let alone lives, because the game wouldn't be over if you could just keep playing. Not only that, Sonic Mania is not a difficult game. It's not that fucking hard. It doesn't even pride itself on difficulty. If you're that much of a wiener and you can't get past a fucking boss, why don't you just farm lives? Did you even know you could farm lives? Maybe you should look into this a little bit more before writing an article that claims that the save system in a game modeled after its old school predecessors sucks! There needs to be some level of difficulty in a game for the player to feel like they're overcoming obstacles. But hey, if you don't enjoy the feeling of overcoming obstacles, why not start the game with 99 lives and 1,000 fucking checkpoints? Sonic Mania's save system is fine, you candy-ass twat wallaby. The only thing that sucks is you! So how about instead of sucking the fun out of everything by asking for a coddling, padded wall environment, you suck it up and learn how to play the fucking game! Oh God, what have I done? God, are you there? It's me, Peter.
Yes, Peter, my son, my boy, I am here.
I have sinned.
My child, what sins have you committed?
Well, I smoked and drank and gambled, but most importantly, I lashed out against someone with a different opinion than me on the internet.
My son, why ever would you lash out against anyone on the internet?
What else could I have done?
Well, my son, you could have been the bigger man. And also, I mean, you sound totally repressed. Maybe you should get laid or something. Fucking loser.
Wow, you truly are an asshole, God.
Don't blaspheme
Sorry,
me, Peter,
sorry.
or I will strike you down like the lowliest of dogs.
Sorry. Oh, also, please forgive me for putting this review out a month and a half late. Thank you.
Faggot.
Alright, now that I've atoned for my sins, let me elaborate. I honestly do not believe the save system in Sonic Mania could make the game any easier than it already is. There are enough free lives and continues in this game to sustain a fucking army, and there's a plethora of ways to earn them. For every 100 rings you collect, you can earn a free life. This caps off at 3 lives per act, but you can also pick up the countless lives spread throughout the stage. And you're rewarded with a free life every time you earn 50,000 points. Also, you know you can collect those little blue ring TVs that condense your rings into bigger, more valuable rings? Well, you can actually earn an extra life from collecting the rings you've already collected after taking a fucking hit. It's almost like the game is throwing extra lives at you. Look how many fucking rings... That's 420 fucking rings, dude. Take a sip of your weed, boys.
Take a sip of your weed.
I am not exaggerating when I say that I had to deliberately die just to see if the game saves your progress when you don't have any continues. Now, I know that there are some fine folks out there who feel that the game would be more enjoyable if it saved after every act or even at every checkpoint, but in my humble opinion, that would take all of the challenge out of what I already consider a fairly easy game. I mean, there's a reason I chose to do a no-save run. There was no doubt in my mind that I could run through this game in one sitting. In fact, the most difficult aspect of this entire game is the Blue Spheres bonus stage. Of course, I also perfected all the bonus stages because I'm
A massive fucking tool.
But I was really only able to get all the gold medals because I was tempered in blue balls. You see, when I was but a wee lad, I tried to plug Sonic the Hedgehog into the Sonic & Knuckles cartridge in the hopes that I could knuckle my way through the original game. Unfortunately, when you do that, you're met with a screen that tells you, "No way!" But I wasn't about to give up. I had to see just how far this lock-on technology could go, so I tried plugging it into all the games I had at the time. Games like Alien 3, Phantom 2040, and even Street Fighter 2. But none of them worked. There was just no way. But being that I was young, dumb, and full of a desire to play Sonic games, I decided that I was going to do what any 9-year-old does when they're met with a seemingly impossible task. Slam every button on the controller repetitively until something happens. And something did happen, because pressing every button on the controller at the same time unlocks the Blue Spheres bonus game. Now, I spent day after day playing through these stages, so believe me when I say I had a lot of practice. But that being said, the stages in Sonic Mania were still a major challenge. I mean, look at this. You've got to pay very close attention and have ridiculous reflexes to get these orbs. If your timing is even slightly off, or you miss an orb, it's over. There's also some stages where making a wrong turn can lead you to inevitable failure. And then there's this stage. I still, to this day, can't figure out how you're supposed to perfect this fucking stage gracefully. I mean, it's a simple straight path with only 4 blue spheres to collect and a few rings, but no matter what you do, you'll always collect the blue orb before you collect the final rings, and the orbs are in the corners so you can't jump over them. There's no way to go back, and running the stage in reverse just leads to the same problem. So the only way I was able to perfect it was by jumping out of the path and then back into it on the opposite side, which was very fucking frustrating. Maybe I'm missing the simple solution here, but this was the only stage I felt like I didn't fully solve, even though I got the gold medal. By the way, getting silver and gold medals unlocks some pretty cool bonus content, like the DA Garden where you can listen to the soundtrack, Blue Spheres where you can play through the bonus stages old and new, and of course Mean Bean Machine. There's also the debug mode where you can do whatever the hell you want. Knuckles, decide sheer amount of knuckles. Anyways, it's about time to start wrapping things up, guys.
My ADD is kicking in.
So let's talk about the finale. The final stage in the game is the Titanic Monarch Zone, where you find yourself scaling some type of complex metal structure in order to make your way inside of the gigantic metal fortress looming in the background. The stage has elements from both the Scrap Brain Zone and the Metropolis Zone in the form of bouncy bears, yellow bumpers, and rotating gears. After defeating the mini-boss, you make your way inside of the Titanic Monarch, and the stage becomes an ominous mechanical church with glowing lights and stained glass windows. The final boss is Eggman in some type of Phantom Ruby-infused mech suit. Throughout the fight, he uses the Phantom Ruby to cycle through hard-boiled heavy mini-bosses. I love that when you finally defeat Eggman, he gets cracked out of his robot, just like an egg, man. And then apparently he dies in a fiery oblivion.
Truly poetic.
The incomplete ending to the game is a cutscene in which the Titanic Monarch explodes and whichever character you were playing as jumps into an 80s freeze frame. However, if you're playing as Sonic and you've collected all of the Chaos Emeralds, you'll be transported to another boss fight where you face off with both Robotnik and the Phantom King. It's an all-out struggle for power as both the King and Robotnik are fighting for the Ruby. When one boss drops the Ruby, the other one picks it up, so you basically alternate between the two until they're both defeated, at which point you get the true ending where Sonic is sucked into the Phantom Ruby's vortex and presumably transported into another dimension, leaving Tails and Knuckles behind with one final wink. Huh, kinda somber, isn't it? How could he just leave his friends behind like that when it was his turn to do the dishes? And just where did the portal take Sonic? So many questions, but the biggest question I have is, what's next? Will there be more 2D games in the style of classic Sonic? I mean, the true ending definitely hints at that possibility, and just what are they printing in the press garden zone? I wonder. Honestly, I'd love to see a sequel to Sonic Mania, but I'm not gonna push it. I still can't believe it took as long as it did for Sega to figure out that Sonic didn't need a voice, or a gun, or fur, or arm wraps, or even a third dimension to be fun. But you know what? I have no complaints anymore because I got the sequel I always wanted. I had been waiting for this sequel since I was a child. 20 long years later, my dreams came true, and I can honestly say this is one of the best Sonic games I've ever played. It's got all the ingredients of a classic, the perfect recipe. It's a fast-paced platformer with fantastic physics, beautiful animations, wonderful renditions of the original soundtrack, as well as brand new songs, massive additions to the old stages, all new stages, fun and clever boss fights, a kick-ass animated intro, and a bouncy tune by Hyper Potion to go along with it. This is a game with heaps of charm, nostalgia, and most of all, heart. A game made by the fans, for the fans. I give Sonic Mania 5 Sonic OCs out of 5. Now don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comments section below. And if you love my stupid face with all of your ugly heart, please consider donating to my Patreon so that I can afford the good chili.
And now it's time for Comments with Peter, the part of the show where Peter reads your stupid fucking comments.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you, please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
Follow me, set me free, trust me.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Comments with Peter, the part of the show where I read your comments. Before I read comments, I just want to say thank you all for being so patient, and a very super special thank you to my patrons for being so patient as well. Please don't pull your money. I need food. It's all I have. I can't afford Taco Bell. Anyways, it's time to read some incredibly charismatic comments from my intelligent fans. Daddy's Cummies. Oh boy. I hate Mr. Boffacake. He is nothing but a huge bitch to me. Yeah, fuck that guy. What is Boar? Well, you see, Philip, when a man loves a woman, they get married. And then they have kids, and that ruins their sex life. So the man begins searching the internet for his deepest, darkest sexual fantasies and accidentally stumbles across some DeviantArt fanfiction where Scooby-Doo walks in on Shaggy and Fred having sex and has to eat them both to hide the shame. The world is a terrible place. Love your shit, man. Keep it up. But I know that you will grow into a huge YouTube shithead. Have fun knowing that's what your hard work will amount to. Love your asshole. Hey, thanks, man. And don't worry about me being a big YouTuber. I can't even reach 5K. Congrats on 5K, Peter, my friend. Love you. Looks like you reached 5,000, Peter. Can you review Bubsy now? No. So, 5,000 subscribers. Where's that Bubsy review?